He came every Tuesday, always alone, always quiet, and always worried about the bill. What he didn't know was that someone had been paying for his meals for a reason deeper than money. The diner was nothing special, not trendy, not expensive, just one of those places people went to when they didn't want to explain themselves. Warm lights, old wooden tables, the smell of coffee that stayed in the air longer than conversations did. It was nearly closing time when the door opened. A man walked in. He moved slowly, as if his body had learned how to carry weight his hands never touched. His coat was worn, his face tired, but not careless. He chose the same table by the window. He always did. The waitress noticed him immediately. She had worked there for 6 years. She remembered faces without trying. This man had been coming every Tuesday for the last 3 weeks. Always alone. Always the same meal. Always quiet. And always a long pause when the bill arrived. She brought him his food without asking. He nodded politely. No phone, no book, just him, the window, and the street outside. People passed by laughing. Couples walked hand in hand. Life moved quickly, except at his table. By the time he finished eating, the diner had emptied. Chairs were flipped, lights dimmed. Only the hum of the refrigerator remained. The man stared at the bill. Once, twice. Then he reached into his pocket. His fingers searched longer than they should have. Finally he raised his hand. The waitress walked over. His voice was low. Careful. I'm sorry. Could I pay half today? I'll bring the rest tomorrow. There was no excuse in his tone, only embarrassment. The waitress froze for a moment. She nodded gently. It's okay, she said, but before she could take the bill, a manager stepped out from behind the counter. He had been watching. In 15 years of running that diner, he had learned when to stay quiet and when not to. He picked up the bill and looked at it. Then he looked at the man and said something unexpected. Sir, this bill isn't yours. The man frowned. I think there's a mistake. The manager pulled out a chair and sat across from him. There's no mistake, he said softly. Last week a woman came in. She didn't stay long. Just had a coffee. The man listened, confused. She asked about you, the manager continued. The man who comes every Tuesday. Always alone. The man's hands tightened around the table. She said, please pay for his next meal. The man swallowed. You know her? He asked. The manager shook his head. No, but she knows you. Silence filled the diner. Then the manager added quietly. She said her son served in the military. Same unit, same mission. The man's breath caught. She said her son came home. The manager paused. And yours didn't. The words settled slowly, painfully. The man stared at the table. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then the manager slid a small piece of paper across the table. She asked me to give you this. The man unfolded it. 4 simple words were written in neat handwriting. You raised a brave man. His shoulders trembled. Not loudly, not dramatically, just enough to show the weight he had been carrying for years. She said she never got the chance to thank you, the manager added. So this was her way. The man closed his eyes. That night, for the first time in weeks, he didn't rush out of the diner. He sat there long after the lights dimmed, looking out the window, remembering. The following Tuesday, he returned, but this time he wasn't alone. He brought another man, older, quieter. They sat at the same table. The waitress noticed something different. They talked, not loudly, not much, but enough. The week after that, a woman joined them, then another. Slowly, that table became something else. A place for people who had lost someone, a place for people who didn't know where to put their memories. No one asked questions, no one explained their pain. They just sat. They ate. They listened. Notice. People weren't coming for the food anymore. They were coming because here, they weren't invisible. One evening, the manager framed the note and hung it behind the counter. Underneath it, he added a line. Some bills are paid with money. Some are paid with humanity. And every Tuesday night, when the lights grow soft and the diner grows quiet, that table by the window is never empty.